Can you tell us about some of the penalties in Pennsylvania that people might face for a DUI?
Well, Pennsylvania has what's called a tiered system. They changed the law in 2004, and they have what's called general impairment. Then the next step up from that is high rate, and then there's highest rate. To make it even more confusing, it's also recidivist, which means each offense that you get within a 10-year period, it also ratchets up the consequences. It can go from anywhere from 0 jail time to up to 1 year, and a loss of license from anywhere between 0 days to 18 months with a 12-month interlock restricted license after that 18 months is served. So it's very, very important, and of course the maximums, they just keep on making the maximums more and the mandatory minimums more, and so the maximums go all the way up to 5 years, depending upon those two different things: the tiers, the amount of alcohol or drugs, or whether or not you refused, and then also the number of prior offenses you have within 10 years.
Why does the state keep increasing the maximum? Is it because there's a political feeling that we have to go after drunk drivers?
Yeah, and I think some of that is legitimate and well placed, but the bottom line of it is that until you are personally involved or have a close family member or friend, you just really don't give a lot of thought to how harsh these penalties are. And it's just very impossible thinking about going to your employer, for example, and saying, I'm going to be in the work release center for 90 days. And that's probably not a comfortable conversation to have with any employer. Yeah.
What is a work release center? What can somebody expect if they went there?
Well, a work release center is basically where you're let out just to go to work, very limitedly. Go to work. If you're not in work, then you're in the prison. And different counties have different levels of restriction that are there. Some allow furloughs on the weekends to allow you to be with your family, and some of them are just strict lockdown.
It has to be tough for people. So you're away from your family, and you have to explain that to your employer. On the other hand, I guess it's just a little bit better than going to prison.
Yeah, and it's true. And it also allows you to maybe mitigate some of the consequences and lessen the blow, so to speak. But it's still pretty harsh. There's no doubt about it. And so a lot of trials that we have are over the fact that either the person doesn't want to tell their employer because they think it should be none of the employer's business because it happened on their personal life. And then number two is that also because of the restrictions that go on in the work release center. For example, there's geographic restrictions. You can only go so far. They have to pre-approve your schedule. It's just really inconvenient.
Yeah, that sounds pretty stringent. All right. You know, when I think about DUI cases, I know there is such a public outcry about drunk drivers. You've chosen to specialize in this area. What motivated you to do that?
Well, there's a couple things that really motivated me to do it. First and foremost, I'm probably best known for knowing the scientific aspects of DUI defense. And it's something that I really, really like. It's something that makes a lot of sense to me, and it's something that is empirical, and I really specialize in that. But then also, every single DUI case is important because the consequences are so dire. And these are real consequences that not only affect the person who's accused of the crime, but oftentimes their family members, their friends, their self-esteem. It's just a cascading effect. And so you never have a DUI case that doesn't matter. While some other offenses, for example, speeding, you might have a couple points in your license. There might be a major inconvenience in the fact that your insurance goes up a little bit, but it'll eventually go down. Some of these consequences with DUI last forever.
And when you say you're a specialist in DUI and the other attorneys in your firm are as well, what does that mean exactly?
Well, what that means to us is that we have spent a lot of time and a lot of money to learn everything that we can about DUI. We come to conferences and seminars like the one that I'm at right here. There is once a year at Harvard Law School where I send all of the associate attorneys in my firm along with myself to go learn the specialized defenses and techniques. And I've lectured at some of these conferences as well. And it's all about trying to be on the cutting edge, being the person that has the specialized knowledge and reputation. It's just like, for example, if you were to have a problem with your foot, you would maybe go to your general practitioner and get a referral to the podiatrist. You wouldn't go to the brain surgeon. Whereas we are great at DUI, we maybe are not so great at wills and trusts. But we have spent all of our time devoting to our knowledge and using it to use our reputation, knowledge, and experience to maximize.
Well, and as an example, I'm an attorney, but I don't know anything about the science of DUI. So can you tell me a little bit about that science? Because I know that you're so well versed in it and what some of the points are. And I'm also fascinated that you teach other lawyers when you do workshops and lectures and you're teaching other lawyers.
Right, and I'll hit the second part first with the different people that come in. We host lectures probably 1 or 2 times a year in Harrisburg, where other lawyers from across the country, from California, Maine, come in and they learn DUI defense and specialized information like drug recognition expert and how to spot DUIDs, so we can take the police information. Because if you don't have the knowledge of how the police apply this, then how can you possibly defend it? And in terms of the scientific aspects of it, it goes from everything from just simply how you draw someone's blood can inflate someone's blood level. If you don't cleanse the site right, if you don't invert the tubes and activate the components inside of it, it's just very highly technical and highly scientific, especially with so much weight that's put on the magic number, as I call it, that BAC, that reported blood alcohol content result.
Right, that's the number we hear. Somebody has a .08 or a .10, but you can make some arguments against that. The police may say one thing, but you can challenge that.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, that's what we specialize in doing. They have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt in Pennsylvania that magic number is in fact verified, true, accurate, precise, and that it has relevance to the case. And if they can't prove that beyond a reasonable doubt, then you're not guilty of that one brand of DUI, that one charge of DUI that you would be facing.
And I would assume that BAC, the blood alcohol content, that number would change as time passes, right?
Yeah, as we all know, that if you are drinking, then you metabolize it and you internalize it, for a better way of putting it. Then over a period of time, if you stop drinking, then you'll eliminate it, and it'll come out of your system. And so in Pennsylvania, they have this, we call it a wacky rule, that within 2 hours of your driving, that it doesn't matter what your BAC is at the time of your driving. If it's within 2 hours of your driving, and they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that it's accurate, reliable, and true, the magic number, then you're convicted of one brand of DUI. Mm-hmm.
So that even if you have a drink after you drive somewhere, have a drink, it's still within 2 hours of driving.
In theory, absolutely, it's very counterintuitive.